Imagine waking up 30,000 years in the past. No phone. No flashlight. No house. No roads. Just endless wilderness. The sun is already setting. You have nothing. Except the clothes on your back. There are no supermarkets. No clean water. No one is coming to rescue you. Tonight, you must survive your very first night in the Stone Age. At first, it doesn't seem so difficult. You find a beautiful river. A quiet cave. Plenty of trees. Everything looks peaceful. But ancient humans knew something you don't. Every decision you make could be your last. Sleep beside the river. And predators may find you first. Choose the wrong cave. And you could wake a cave bear. Build your fire too late. And the freezing night might kill you before sunrise. The Stone Age wasn't dangerous because of one giant monster. It was dangerous because hundreds of small mistakes added up to one deadly night. So here's the question. If you suddenly woke up in the prehistoric world, would you survive until sunrise? Let's find out. The moment you realize you're trapped in the Stone Age, your first instinct might be to panic. Modern life has taught us to rely on technology. A phone for directions. A lighter for fire. A store for food. But here, none of those things exist. The only thing standing between you and death is your ability to think. Ancient humans understood one simple truth. Survival wasn't about being the strongest. It was about making fewer mistakes than everything trying to kill you. So, what would your very first decision be? Many people would immediately search for food. That would be a mistake. The human body can survive for weeks without eating. But it can't survive one freezing night without shelter. Experienced hunters always looked for a safe place before doing anything else. Time was running out. The sun was already sinking below the horizon. Every minute of daylight was precious. At first, a river seems like the perfect place. Fresh drinking water. Fish. Animals to hunt. Soft ground. Everything you need. But ancient humans knew something modern campers often forget. Every thirsty creature in the forest eventually comes to the river. As daylight fades, the forest slowly comes alive. A family of deer arrives first. Then wild horses. Soon afterward, a massive herd of mammoths appears. For a brief moment, the river seems peaceful. Until the hunters arrive. Wolves emerge from the shadows. A cave lion silently watches from the tall grass. Hyenas circle the riverbank, waiting for an easy meal. Without realizing it, you've chosen to sleep beside the busiest road in the prehistoric world. Maybe a cave feels safer. After all, it protects you from rain, wind, and cold temperatures. But ancient people rarely trusted an empty cave. Because it was rarely empty. Long before humans claimed caves, they belonged to predators. Cave bears often slept deep inside. Hyenas dragged food into them. Big cats rested there during the day. Walking straight into a cave without checking could become the last mistake you ever made. The oldest hunters developed a simple habit. They stopped, listened, watched the entrance. Sometimes they threw a small rock into the darkness. If birds suddenly flew out, or a growl echoed from inside, they quietly walked away. No shelter was worth risking your life. Perhaps sleeping beneath a giant tree sounds like a better idea. The thick branches provide shade during the day. They block some of the cold wind. But old trees hide dangers too. Dead branches can fall without warning. Strong winds can bring entire limbs crashing down. Insects gather around damp roots. Snakes often hide among fallen leaves. The safest looking place isn't always the safest place to sleep. Ancient humans preferred slightly elevated ground. Not too close to the river. Not too deep inside the forest. A place where they could see approaching danger before danger saw them. Once the campsite was chosen, there was no time to waste. Fire became the next priority. Without fire, the cold night could slowly drain away body heat. Darkness would make every sound more frightening. Predators would move with confidence. Humans would not. Fire changed everything. It provided warmth, light, protection, and hope. Many predators avoided bright flames. Not because they feared humans, but because they feared something unfamiliar. Experienced hunters also collected far more firewood than they thought they needed. Leaving the safety of the fire after dark was one of the most dangerous things anyone could do. As the final light disappeared behind the mountains, the forest transformed. Birdsong faded. The temperature dropped. Strange noises echoed between the trees. This was the moment ancient humans respected the most. Because surviving the Stone Age didn't depend on how brave you were. It depended on whether you were prepared before the sun went down. The first night has finally arrived. Darkness spreads across the landscape faster than you expected. Within minutes, the world becomes almost unrecognizable. There are no streetlights. No houses glowing in the distance. Only the faint light of your campfire pushes back the endless blackness. Every sound suddenly feels louder. A twig snaps somewhere beyond the trees. Something moves in the bushes. Your heart begins to race. But ancient humans knew an important rule. Not every sound meant danger. Panic could be just as deadly as any predator. Experienced hunters stayed still. They listened before they acted. The forest always spoke. The trick was learning its language. If birds suddenly exploded into the sky, something had frightened them. If every insect stopped making noise at once, a large predator might be nearby. If deer began running, the hunters prepared themselves immediately. Nature gave warnings. You simply had to notice them. As midnight approached, the temperature dropped even further. The warmth from the fire slowly faded. You realized another mistake. You didn't collect enough firewood. Now you faced a terrible choice. Stay beside a dying fire, or leave the safety of camp to search for more wood. Ancient hunters never made this mistake. Before sunset, they gathered far more wood than they expected to use. Because they understood something simple. Everything becomes more dangerous after dark. One trip into the forest could end your life. While feeding the fire, you notice something glowing between the trees. Two eyes. Watching silently. They don't move. They simply stare. You freeze. The oldest hunter quietly places another log onto the fire. The flames grow taller. A few seconds later, the eyes disappear. Many predators preferred easy prey. A bright fire told them this group was alert. Prepared. Not worth the risk. Hours pass. The fire continues burning. Nobody sleeps deeply. One person always stays awake. Watching. Listening. Waiting. This may have been one of the oldest jobs in human history. Keeping watch while others rested. Without someone guarding the camp, an entire family could be surprised before dawn. As the eastern sky slowly begins to brighten, the sounds of the forest begin to change. Birds start singing again. The cold slowly fades. Animals that hunted through the night begin disappearing into the shadows. You survived. Not because you were stronger than the predators. Not because you were faster. But because you respected nature's rules. This is the lesson modern people often forget. The Stone Age wasn't won through strength alone. It was won through preparation, observation, patience, and good decisions. One wrong choice. Sleeping beside the river. Entering the wrong cave. Running into the darkness. Ignoring the sounds of the forest. Any one of them could have ended your journey before sunrise. If you truly had to spend one night in the Stone Age, would you survive? Or would you become just another forgotten story? Lost to the wilderness? Perhaps the greatest survival tool our ancestors ever possessed wasn't fire. Wasn't the spear. It was the ability to learn from nature. And never underestimate it. If you enjoyed this survival challenge, subscribe to Ancient Unlocked for more prehistoric adventures, forgotten survival secrets, and fascinating stories from our ancient past. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next adventure.